Hello and welcome, my name is Piera and today I'm here with my February wrap-up. So before I start this video, I promised my global queens that I'd give them a shout out, so shout out to Christina and Nicole. I love you bitches! So February was an interesting month, not so much in terms of reading, but just in terms of I did a lot of things and a lot of things happened in the month of February. Oh, I don't even know where to start. Okay, so I completed 4 books, one of which was an audiobook, and I DNF'd a total of 7 books. Basically, I started a bunch of books in between, like, my waiting for A Conjuring of Light to come out, and everything I picked up I just couldn't get into, so I put them all down. Some of them I will pick back up and try again, but most of them I was like, nah. Before I get into the book side of the wrap-up, things that have occurred in February. Shit, what's occurred in February? Where's my diary at? Well, first of all, I started bullet journaling, which I'm fucking terrible at because I'm not artistic, my handwriting sucks, so it's like super average. I like went online and tried to find like all these cool bullet journal ideas, and I tried to recreate some, but it's terrible, so it's just really basic. So earlier in February, I did some pickups for a web series that I shot this time last year called 2 Weeks. I'll leave a link to the Facebook page down below if you want to see it. We are having a premiere screening at the Brisbane Queer Film Festival in March, early March. I'll leave links to that below as well if you're in the area and you want to come see that. I will be there, it'll be fun, I'm excited. Also, my TV show came out on air, which was ridiculously surreal and weird. I will leave some of the footage from a few of my scenes at the end of this video so you can see it if you want to. It's not all of the scenes, but it's just like some fun little scenes that I was in. It's super weird to be on like national television and be like, hey, that's me, and then have like an influx of text messages being like, are you on Channel 7 right now? Because yeah, I was. I also smashed out my 7 days of Schwab, which was something that I was super excited for. I kind of wish that I put more effort into it now, but now I have like an idea of what to do for like the next time I want to do something like that, as well as our Darker Shade of Magic short film, which I was super in love with because I love A Dark Shade of Magic and I love Lila Bard, which I will link up above if you want to see it. And last week, Jacob and I went down to Melbourne, Victoria to check the place out. It was my first time going down there. We are moving down to Melbourne. There's more of like an acting community, acting scene down in Melbourne as opposed to where I live now, so we're moving down to Melbourne hopefully in the next month or 2, depending on just money and if we find a house and jobs. So that was super exciting. I went down to Melbourne, we checked it out. Jacob's been there before, I haven't been there before, so it was really interesting to go there. It's super cold a lot of the time, so I'm super excited to start wearing like some coats and some jackets and some boots. So we got to check out a lot of Melbourne City, the acting area down there. We met a bunch of people. We went to the Werribee Open Range Zoo, which I absolutely loved because they had 4 new lion cubs there and they were super cute to see here. I also caught up with Chammy at Read Like Wildfire. I got to see Jess, who made my incredible Nevernight dagger, and I got to go to the YA Rooms book club meeting for the month, which was super exciting. I got to meet a bunch of people that I only ever talked to online, so it was super cool to see that you guys were all real and flesh and blood and humans, and like, you know how your parents tell you never to like meet up with online friends? Look at what we did. And whilst doing all of those things for the month, I also am currently creating a series. I'm not sure if I want it to be a web series or if I'm going to pitch it as a TV series, but it's like this dystopian steampunk underground rebellion sort of thing, so I'm kind of working on that, which is weird because I've never done anything with a scheme this big before. It's a super ambitious project, so my brain is just like bleh. So in between living my life, that is what I've been doing. In terms of other important things that have happened this month, A Darker Shade of Magic got picked up by Sony and Gerard Butler's film company for a movie series. I'm reluctant. I want to be super excited for it because it's one of my all-time favorite series, but because it is one of my all-time favorite series and I have very little faith left in Hollywood for adaptations, I'm super nervous. Like, I know Victoria is going to be a producer and she's going to have quite a lot of say in the creative process, which is amazing. That's always something that I would want for book-to-film adaptations. Again, that doesn't say how much she has. Obviously, she's not going to be in charge of like casting and costuming and script writing and all of that sort of stuff. She's just going to be involved in the process, which is a start. It's a good thing that she's involved to begin with, but it just makes me super nervous and I'm super worried. Same with like what the Throne of Glass TV show that's coming out later. Nervous. The Darkest Minds that's coming out. I'm hopeful, it's looking good, still nervous though. What else has happened in February? Oh, Iron Gold got pushed back to next year. Not happy about that, but I think I already mentioned that in one of my last videos, but I'm still unhappy about it. Oh yeah, I've also been engaged for a year as of today. Well, technically the 29th of February, but that doesn't exist all the time, so I'm just gonna say it's the 1st of March. I still don't have a ring or my engagement emu, so Jacob, when you watch this, because I'm gonna force you to watch it, where's my ring, boo? What about my emu? Ideally, what about an emu with a ring? Yeah, off the top of my head, that's all I can really think of. I'm sure there's more. I just don't remember. So now let's just get into the book portion of this book video. As I said, I finished a total of 4 books. The rest I DNF'd just out of, I got like maybe anywhere between like 1 and 50 pages in and decided that I didn't want to read them. Some of them I will be picking back up. Some of them I was like, nah, done. So these are the books that I did finish in February. The first book that I finished this month was obviously an audiobook. I finished Golden Sun with Jacob. If you have been keeping up, you know that Jacob doesn't read, so I forced him to listen to the Red Rising audiobooks. He's obsessed with them. You're welcome. And so we finished that. Of course, the ending had him like, the fuck, which I was totally waiting for. So we finished that one. I also finished reading Morningstar. Jacob just finished listening to the audiobook last night. So needless to say, he woke me up at 3 AM and he's just shaking me and he's like, oh, what just happened? And I'm like, yeah. Oh, the one bit, for those of you who haven't read the book, so I won't spoil it, but for those of you who have read Morningstar, the bit towards the end with Severo, he was like, nah, not cool. And I was like, sorry. So I finished reading the book because I just wanted to read it quicker. As soon as I finished Golden Sun, I just wanted to get straight into it, and it took me like 3-4 hours to finish it, so finished Morningstar. Of course, I also finished A Conjuring of Light by V.E. Schwab, which came out a few days ago. I finished it in 6 hours. If you haven't seen my spoiler review, I will link it also above. I think I have enough space. I'll put it above as well. There is a spoiler section of it as well, so just be aware of that. Finished it in about 6 hours, absolutely loved it, reread it again. It took me about a day just so I could like actually like sink in and let it. And I love it. It's such a perfect and satisfying end to the series, which I absolutely adore. So I'm super excited about this bad boy. The next book I finished yesterday. I picked it up when I was down in Melbourne. It's the YA Room's next book of the month, so I had to get on that, even though I probably won't be down there for then, but I just wanted to read it. It's a book that I have heard and seen heaps on book Twitter and on Instagram and on Tumblr and sometimes on BookTube, but I really wanted to pick it up. I was hesitant to begin with because I know sometimes books with a lot of hype fall short, so I was worried that this would be one of them, and I didn't want to be one of those only people who hated it or didn't like it or didn't finish it. But I picked it up and I finished it in a day because I was just so engulfed. It was so amazing. It was so different to anything that I'd read, not just, you know, like personally, but also anything that I'd experienced in my real life. And obviously that's, you know, that's to do with a lot of factors, but I picked it up and I just fucking loved it, and I could not recommend it enough. And I'm not just saying that because it's a popular book that everyone's recommending at the moment. I genuinely think it is such an incredible book. It changes the game as well, and technically it's only been released today, I just realized, but for some reason it was in Australia earlier. But anyway, if you haven't already read it or heard of it, I highly recommend. It's called The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. It's a book basically inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement, and it's something else. Like, it's phenomenal. Obviously, because it's not fantasy, it's not something I would usually pick up because I'd heard so many good things about it. I was like, look, I gotta give it a go. It's something different. It's something that I strongly support as well. It was fucking incredible. If you have not read it, definitely make sure it's on your TBR for next month. Alrighty, so those are the books that I actually finished this month. The next are books that I picked up and got, like I said, between 1 and like 50 pages in and decided to DNF, all for a variety of reasons, and I will try to explain those reasons, but realistically it's just I'm lazy and they wouldn't capture my attention. So the first book that I DNF'd is The Edge of Everything by Jeff Giles, which I was sent by Bloomsbury for a review. I DNF'd this at about 30 pages due to the animal abuse that was in this book. I had no idea what this book was about when I picked it up. For some reason I thought like it's like a contemporary love story. There's like even the blurb on the back isn't enough to tell you that it's not a YA contemporary. It is like a sci-fi sort of dystopian fantasy sort of thing. Even now I still couldn't tell you what the book actually is about because, like I said, I got 30 pages in, there was quite a bit of animal abuse, and I was like, no, like there's so many things I can stand for, things that I can't stand in books, movies, life in general is animal abuse. So if you are thinking of picking up The Edge of Everything, please just be aware that there is strong themes of animal abuse within at least the first 30 to 50 pages. There could be more, I don't know, but I just wanted you to be aware of that. That's why I DNF'd this book. Apart from also the characters in the story, I just wasn't feeling. Next book that I DNF'd, I will be picking up again. I was reading it as my Conjuring of Light copy came, so I didn't finish it. I just kind of threw it to the side. But I will be trying it again because it does sound like a pretty cool book so far, and that's The Queen of Blood by Sarah Beth Durst. Basically, it's about things like spirits, and the spirits kind of want to rid the world of humans. And the only thing that really keeps a lid on that is this queen, who basically is like the doorway between human and spirits, and so she kind of keeps the spirits at bay, finds a way for them to kind of exist peacefully. And it basically follows, from my understanding, a young girl who has become, I guess, one of the queens in training. For if this queen dies, she becomes one of the queens in training, and then she becomes the queen as the doorway between them. And one of the queen's ex-guard, who was like disgraced, so he's training the young girl and all that sort of stuff. As I said, I got about like 50 pages into it before my Conjuring a Light copy came, so I threw it to the side, but I'm enjoying it. Like, it's very different to what I usually read in terms of, I say that a lot, it's different in terms of I don't usually read things with like wood sprites and like that sort of stuff. Like if I read about like sprites and elves and stuff, they're usually like the human version of sprites and elves and like fae, as opposed to like wood sprites that actually are made of like trees. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm hoping to get back into it this month. So the next book has been being talked about quite a lot in the book community, whether that's Twitter, Instagram, or BookTube, for a variety of different reasons, mainly because of its racism and ableism. Hadn't gotten that far into the book to see that or read about that, but I've heard it from other people, and so obviously I want to acknowledge that. But I got about like 30 pages into it, maybe like 50 pages into it, and I DNF'd it just because I was bored. I didn't like it, and that is Carve the Mark by Veronica Roth. I don't like Veronica Roth. I didn't like Divergent. I wasn't gonna pick this book up at all to begin with, even when I saw it was coming out before everything went on. I was kind of like, I don't really care. And then obviously because it was being talked about so much, and even then I was still just like, I still don't care enough to be curious enough to read it. Bless her heart, my grandma bought it for me, and she was like, oh, you don't have this one. I'm like, there's a reason I don't have this one, but just because she bought it for me, I decided to read it because she was like, what's the book? How's the book I bought you? And I'm like, oh, I'll get to it. So yeah, I picked it up again just for something to try between A Conjuring of Light, and yeah, I got about maybe like, I want to say like probably like at least 100 pages in, and I just didn't give a shit. I couldn't pronounce half the characters' names and the places, like that's just a beginning, but I didn't care about the characters, I didn't care about the plot line, I just did not care about anything to do with this book. So yeah, like it's a shit book, sorry, for a variety of reasons, so it's not one that I would recommend. The next book I was sent for review, it's one that I will try and pick up again, I just wasn't feeling it at the time, and that's The Silent Invasion by James Bradley, which is the first book in a new trilogy. Basically, it's about people, animals, plants, and whatever being infected by this virus. I think there might be like alien shit towards the end. I got maybe like 30 pages in and just wasn't interested enough at the time. It gave me real reminiscent vibes of like The Fifth Wave, that sort of stuff. I might pick it up again, because like it is a small read, it looks like a nice easy read. I was interested when Pam McMillan emailed me and told me what it was about. I was like, yeah, that sounds actually really cool, right up my alley, so I will give it another go, but just at the time, I didn't care about it enough. The next book I DNF'd is a book that I picked up because one of my friends, Molly, she goes on and on about it, she raves about it, and I was kind of like, oh, I'm interested, you know, I'll pick it up. It was like $9 on sale, so I was like, yeah, why not? I got about like 30 pages into it, and I was like, meh, not for me. I mean, it's something that I probably would have enjoyed when I was younger, but now, and what my reading taste has kind of matured to, I just, nah. And that is Akane by Lynette Noni. It's basically just about this young girl who goes to this boarding school, but it turns out the boarding school is actually like a magical boarding school and like an alternate universe of Earth or something magical. I don't know, like I said, I got 30 pages in and I don't know anything, but I just, again, I don't care. Sorry, Molly. And the final book that I DNF'd this month, I picked up because I was seeing it all over Twitter and Instagram, and I was like, fuck, I'll give it a go. You know me and overhyped books. I DNF'd it at about 100, not even 100, maybe like 60 pages, because I just kept waiting for it to get better, but I didn't care about the characters, I didn't care about the storyline, I didn't care for the writing style. But yeah, I find if the characters don't hook me in the beginning, I'm just kind of like, I don't really care what happens to you. And that's Frostblood by Ellie Blake, which is basically about a young girl who was born a fireblood, so she has like fire powers in a world of ice-powered people, and so firebloods are like, basically her existence is like a crime. I think my understanding is she like trains to fight back, or something like that, I don't know enough. Those are all the books that I read or didn't read in February. The last things, I will be announcing the winner of my A Dark Shade of Magic giveaway on my Twitter tonight, so at like 7 PM Australian time, I will announce the Twitter winner. I'll mention it again in my next video. I also just wanted to mention that in a few days, the song Rising by Samantha Shannon, the third book in the Bone Season series, will be coming out. I've partnered with Bloomsbury again to do kind of a lead up to the release of this book, so I'll be doing kind of a 4-day version of the 7 Days of Schwab, in which I'll be doing a Bone Season recap, a My Mortar recap, a character introduction, and also the merits of unnaturalness explained, because that's something that you definitely need to know before going into the series. On top of that, I also have 2 copies of the Bone Season in their nice fancy new covers, which I fucking love, to give away. I will be international, I'll be sending those out to you guys. You can enter below in the comments. I'll be announcing the winner in the last day of the video, so it's the same date that the song Rising comes out. So let me know if you're interested in entering that giveaway. You can pop them down below. Pretty much covers everything February. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
She's killed him.
He's killed her.
Bet you $5.
You're on.
What's going on?
Your dad has just been nominated for an Oscar award.
What?
And they want him to host.
Get out! No! Oh my god! Yes! This is incredible! How awesome was Dad?
Oh, he's gonna be famous.
He's already famous.
Okay, but he's gonna be more famous.
You called your dad yet?
No.
You probably should.
Yeah, well, later.
Don't forget the time difference.
Okay.
I can dial for you if
I
you like.
said later.
Hello, Linda speaking.
What's going on, Mum?
What? Nothing. Oh, wonder who that could be.